The video game industry feels like kind of a dumpster fire lately. And I don't know if you've ever been blessed with witnessing the epicness that is a dumpster fire in person before, but I have. My wife and we were getting lunch at the Chandler Fashion Center in Arizona. I was trying to pay attention to a story she was telling, but then over her shoulder, boom, smoke. And I'm not just talking about a little of smoke. No, this was thick smoke. And I don't care how interesting the story is that you're telling me. You could be telling me about a map hidden on the back of the United States Constitution, and I'd be like, Nick Cage, I'm gonna need you to kindly stop talking about Ben Franklin for a second because there is a dumpster fire over there and we need to investigate. Now, the dumpster fire that I witnessed was epic. Flames out of control. Fire department nowhere to be found. Just melting metal and plastic as the fire viciously consumed cardboard, clothing, and old Cinnabons. And by this point, you're probably asking, like, well, did you help at least put the fire out? And the answer to that question is no, because one, I did not select fire extinguishing skills as a character trait when I was born, but two, directly next to me was the Orange Julius guy. And he uttered something along the lines of like, this is the best day of my life. And quite frankly, who am I to take that from him? The point is, dumpster fires are awesome to look at, but eventually someone does come along and put out the flames and ruin the fun for everybody else. Unless, that is, you're talking about the dumpster fire that is the video game industry, because that thing is burning hotter than hell itself. And it feels like every single day somebody is just throwing more gasoline to make that fire bigger than ever. Prime example. Just this week, Ubisoft announced a new video game called Assassin's Creed Shadows. It combines samurais, ninjas, stealth mechanics, and of course assassinations. I mean, everything that you want from a video game. And you would think with an announcement like this, we would be excited about a brand new video game and say things like, wow, this game looks really cool. Another samurai video game? Let's freaking go. Hold up. Is that Samurai Jack? No, we didn't get any of that. Instead, the entire microcosm of gaming media decided to focus in its efforts on one thing, the fact that the game would require an internet connection to install. That's right, not the game's loot boxes, $70 price tag, or the fact that there's some extremely questionable pre-order bonuses. They decided to be outraged by an internet connection. And I find this so odd because it's 2024. And requiring an internet connection to install software seems pretty basic. I mean, it's like needing electricity to plug your console in. Like, can you imagine these same articles being like, how dare Sony require me to plug my console into the outlet in order to use it? And I guess this is the part where I'm like having a hard time understanding, like, who is this gamer that they're talking about? Like, who is the gamer that can afford a $500 PlayStation 5, a TV to connect that to, $70 to buy Assassin's Creed Shadows, but when it actually comes to paying for the internet, sorry, bud, I'm sorry. Money doesn't grow on trees. Like, am I supposed to believe that there's some vagabond gamer riding a bird scooter with a 32-inch TV and a PlayStation 5 strapped to his back, just traveling through San Francisco, plugging it all in and playing the game wherever he can find an open outlet? I don't know. Again, these videos always feel like it's the old man yelling at the internet thing. And by no means am I trying to make this an age thing, but back in my day, internet sucked balls. Like, after this week of outrage, I think there is a very valid argument in saying that if you didn't grow up getting on the internet and having to listen to this atrocious sound, then you are forbidden from criticizing the internet. If you never had your mom enter your room and say, sweetheart, I need to call your Aunt Doris, can you kindly sign off the AOL? You're not allowed to complain about the internet. Gamers today have it great. The internet is fantastic. I installed Ghost of Tsushima in less than an hour this week. Like, do you realize that back in the PlayStation 3 era, I'd have to get up early, start the install, go to work, and on my way home, call my friends and be like, yeah, I think I should be able to play tonight. The install started this morning and it should be done by now, only to get home and realize that the install's been stuck at 10% the entire day, so you gotta cancel it and restart it again and hopefully play the game tomorrow. Because you wanna talk about luxuries? Today's kids get to install video games and play video games at the same time. That stuff didn't happen back in the day. It was set it and forget it. You install the game and then you just walk away because that thing is a paperweight until the game is installed. And look, I have been throwing a ton of punches here. I'd like to step back and just say, in the defense of the outraged, I think that their reasoning for being upset has just been completely misconstrued. I don't think it is about internet connections. I think it's about game conservation. Like with Assassin's Creed Shadow, the disc itself, the game is not on there. So if Ubisoft decides to shut off the servers, the game is gone, which in 2024 is a valid concern. But also, just being devil's advocate here, I mean, based off Ubisoft's track record over the past couple years, if their games disappeared, would that really be such a bad thing? But again, this is why the video game industry is such a dumpster fire, because instead of talking about valid concerns like game preservation, we get headlines like, installing Assassin's Creed will require an internet connection. Thanks, Copernicus. I also hear water is wet. And the problem with all of this is it leads to so much unnecessary outrage, to the point that Ubisoft has to release a press statement where they confirm that yes, an internet connection will be needed to install their video games. I mean, imagine that meeting for a second. Ubisoft headquarters, glassed conference room. Look, Jenny, you're doing a fantastic job. I'm gonna need you to run this past me like one more time. So, you know how we announced Assassin's Creed Shadows? We need to release a statement confirming the need of an internet connection to install the game. Okay, I kind of get it, but again, where are we gonna be putting this statement out? Good question. We plan on releasing it across all of our social media platforms on the internet. Okay, so we're releasing this statement on the same internet that these outraged individuals are complaining that they don't have access to. I think I need a drink. But I guess it just makes me sad because like it doesn't pay to talk about the good things about a game, and creators, journalists, or even just social media accounts, they seem to find the smallest negative item in a video game and then blow it out of proportion to create outrage, because that in turn results to more revenue for them. And it's just super concerning. And it's getting to a point that for me, the cherry on the top of this dumpster fire, if you will, is that the same people that always seems to be leading the outrage are the same people who are constantly posting or saying things like, developers deserve more respect. Gaming as a medium needs to be taken more seriously. How dare Jeff Keighley tell developers to wrap it up at the Game Awards? God, gaming has become so toxic today. And personally, I'm just tired of beating around the bush, so I'm just gonna say it as it is. If that's you, understand how hypocritical that is. Because that is the equivalent of somebody standing around a dumpster fire and being like, wow, anybody gonna put this out? But in the same breath, you lean to your friends and you're like, anybody want s'mores?
Are you listening?